there's something you want to say to me, you should probably say.
Stay away from my son. Do you hear what I'm saying?
You and Howard have a complicated past.
My kid was working with somebody that night. I want to know who it was.
If he ain't dead, he's still talking. You about to be in a world of shit.
So dark clouds seem to be on the horizon for many of our characters in Raising Kanan, but some of these dark clouds are definitely self-inflicted. For example, the rift between Raq and Kanan seems to be growing, but ultimately who's to blame? Raq. This relationship has been doomed ever since she accepted Kanan for who he was in season 1, and more so because she's continued to lie, even though she saw Kanan walk into Howard's house at the end of episode 4, and instead of telling him the truth, she decided to bury her lies with even more lies, and now I don't see a way back for this relationship because it really is broken beyond repair. But we're still gonna see Raq trying to keep Kanan close by warning Palomar. But elsewhere, even though Lou wanted to come away from the street game, he may have to use his street knowledge to get back on top. Beck also has her eyes set on Raq, and she's beginning to become a real problem. But that's only one of Raq's problems. The other is Marvin, the Italians, and Unique. Marco's death is going to have some serious consequences, so is there a way back for Raq? Because she really does seem like she's got her back against the wall when it comes to her both personal life and street life. But then again, what do you expect when you try and combine both? But we're going to run through all things episode 8 in this trailer breakdown. Now, the title of episode 8 is A House Is Not a Home, and the synopsis reads, the rift between Raq and Kanan grows, and Kanan seeks comfort elsewhere. Marvin lays low, waiting for the consequences of his actions to blow over, and Raq sees dark clouds on the horizon. So if we were to look at a deeper meaning of a house is not a home is considered a place where we can find comfort, a place where we can create memories, a home full of love and laughter, and where memories are created through the way you want with your needs and desire. For example, we've seen Raq trying to create the atmosphere of a home.
I need you to know that we wasn't having none of these dinners while you was going, Kanan. Because if your seat's empty, we not sitting around the table like this. Because this right here is what it's all about.
But ironically, if we link it back to the synopsis from episode 7, episode synopsis says Raq was searching for a house, not a home. So regardless of Raq attempting to create a home, we all know there's dark clouds over everyone. We can also look at various literature and meanings behind the term, and everybody will have their own meaning of what a home is to them. But the one I picked is a quote from Sarah O'Sully, and she said, "A house is no home unless it contains food and a fire for the mind as well as the body." And what kind of home does Kanan live in? What kind of home has Duke grew up in? Both have been lied to and hurt in the process. And what have we seen that do to Kanan's mind? Kanan's growing up wanted to protect his mom based on how she's brainwashed him. But now he's coming to the realization he can't trust her. So even though home is where the heart is, Kanan seems like he's had enough of Raq, and this is no longer his home. And the same could be said for Duke, with Marvin only trying to make it a home after the damage was done. And so we saw her move towards Kenya, like we're seeing Kanan move towards Howard. So let's talk about this growing rift between Kanan and Raq, because Kanan says he can't trust her anymore, and rightfully so. And something that Kanan's got is the envelope that Detective Howard gave him at the end of episode 6. This is something which he thought about opening in episode 7, but didn't. And it may be something he opens in episode 8 based on his attitude towards Raq. And I reference the paternity results as Detective Howard's trump card, because he was waiting for the perfect moment to give this to Kanan, and he bided his time until he was able to show him he'll be there for him when Raq won't. For example, what he did with Famous. He's also a character who's playing the long game of chess and thinking 3 moves ahead, because he knows Raq is creating her own downfall, and when she does eventually die or disappear, there's nobody standing in his way of him and Kanan. But let's not count out Raq just yet, because if she's proved one thing, she doesn't kneel to no man, and she won't give up without a fight. But we've also seen the same scenario play out with Ghost, where he created an enemy out of Tariq, and we all know how that ended for him. Now, not only does Raq have a Detective Howard problem, she has a Palomar problem. We saw Corinne approach Raq at the end of episode 7 because she saw Kanan in bed with her mom.
Every girl goes through this.
You acting like this is some regular shit right now, alright? What the fuck about this is regular?
You want to be regular?
But I don't care what Palomar says, this is anything but normal. So we're gonna see Raq flexing her power and holding up gun to Palomar's head and warning her, stay away from Kanan. But will she? The synopsis tells us Kanan will start to seek comfort elsewhere, and I can only think that's either with Palomar or Detective Howard. Now another issue is Detective Berg. We hear Howard telling his superior Berg has been reviewing his records, and there was a secret that was dropped in episode 7. Raq wasn't just sleeping with Howard back in the day, she was also his CI when she was 16. And Beck really has put the pieces of the puzzle together about Howard and Raq's relationship, but even though she can see the entire picture, she doesn't have any solid proof, which is why we're gonna see her questioning Raq about how she had an interesting relationship with Howard. And Beck really is starting to become a problem, and she was someone who was in my death predictions earlier this season, but a character who I liken to Greg Knox and Cooper Saxe, someone who really is beginning to show this obsession, but not really being able to prove anything as of yet. So let's see what Howard and Raq do with Beck. And just before we move on, I think a huge factor that needs to be considered is Duke still owes her a favor, and with her seeing Howard approach James Bingham about Beck, I wonder if Duke will tell Detective Beck, so that's just something to keep an eye on. Now coming away from Raq, let's move on to the fallout from Marvin's plan to get rid of Tony. Now we all know Sal has great respect for Unique for saving Marco in jail, and he repaid him by giving him Rock's operation in Jersey. But now that Marco's dead, he wants to know who was working with Marco. But Unique is someone who's showing he's cleverly navigating the streets as well as staying under the radar, and he can sure use this to his benefit, because we're gonna see him warning Marvin. So as we saw him talking to Sal Baselli, we hear him telling Marvin if he ain't dead, then he's still talking, and he's talking about Dominic. Dominic is someone who may not be dead going into episode 8, but I don't think he's gonna be breathing too long, because not only has he fucked up once, he's fucked up twice. Once at the Catskills when he was shot in the leg by Jimmy, and again when he was shot in the shoulder by the doctor, and let's just say, I don't think the third shot is gonna be as lucky as the first two. So he's someone who I fully expect to die in episode 8, because Marvin can't afford to keep him breathing, but will he get to him before Sal Baselli does? And also, how will Unique play the game? And what consequences will be there for the Thomases if and when Sal Baselli finds out Marvin's plan? So this is one story which really is unpredictable. But elsewhere, Lou's got a major issue in the music business, and now we're seeing Lou behave like he does in the streets, and he's got no choice to, because Crown left him with some major debt, a debt which Cartier said he'll help him with. But we all know Raq also wants a piece of the label, because when the cash is flowing, everyone wants a piece. So let's see how Lou plays this, because slowly his legit business may become a business where either Cartier or Raq clean their cash. But that's a breakdown of episode 8's trailer, and how Kanan no longer feels at home. But Kanan is only one of Raq's many problems. She's got the issue of Marvin, the Italians, Unique, and Detective Beck. So can she salvage this downfall? Drop all your thoughts down below on all things episode 8. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, now remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.